Hello, and thank you for joining us today in our study of the book of Psalms. Today we are in Psalm 14. It's yet another of these short psalms, and yet it has to do with the fool and the righteous. And so it's going to be a contrast between what man does and what God seeks. So let's look at what David says in the 14th Psalm. Beginning in verse 1, we read, "The fool has said in his heart, There is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven upon the children of men, to see if there are any who understand, who seek God. They have all turned aside. They have together become corrupt. There is none who does good, no, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and do not call on the Lord? There they are in great fear, for God is with the generation of the righteous. You shame the counsel of the poor, but the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel would come out of Zion. When the Lord brings back the captivity of his people, let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad." Again, not a very lengthy psalm. And most of the time, what people know from this psalm is the very first verse, that the fool has said in his heart, There is no God. But I want us to take just a minute and consider what is said in this chapter when it comes to the statements concerning the fool. Because I want you to notice that the fool is described by several different terms in this text. You have the fool as being one who says in his heart there is no God. He is corrupt. He is the one who has done abominable works. And that there is none, speaking concerning the fool, there is none who does good. But instead, the Lord looks upon the children of men to see if there are any who understand, who seek God. Any of what? Any of the foolish who understand. He's not saying that as God looks down, there is no one who is doing good. Now, if you turn over to passages such as Romans chapter 3, you read concerning the fact that no one has done good perfectly. Nobody is without sin. Nobody is perfectly righteous all by themselves. But that's a different principle than being the fact that nobody does good. Here he's talking about it from the standpoint of looking at the foolish, looking at those who do not believe in God and do not believe in the things that God commands. He says, There's none that do good. They have all turned aside. They have together become corrupt. There is none who does good, no, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread and do not call on the Lord? You have this discussion of these people who are foolish because they don't believe in God. But here's the key to all of it. He says, The fool has said in his heart, There is no God. Notice it's not the fool has said, There is no God. There's a difference between those two concepts. The fool is the one who says it in his heart, even if he doesn't say it with his mouth. You know, there are many people who with their mouths will profess that they believe in God. And yet at the same time, with their actions, their heart says they don't believe in God. Because if they did believe in God, they would not do the things that they do. They wouldn't act corruptly. They wouldn't live after these abominable standards. They would not be those who were unwilling to do what was right and unwilling to do what was good. And so you have the contrast that it's not just the one who says there is no God. It's the one who makes the choices in their life as though there is no God, as though there's no one to whom they answer for the choices that they make. You see, there are far more people in this world who say in their heart there is no God than are willing to say it with their mouth. But the fool is the one who, whether he says it out loud or not, says in his heart, there is no God. And yet the Lord is one who is seeking the righteous. And if you come down to verse 5, there are righteous. While you have this sentiment of there being no one who does good among those who are foolish, you also have this sentiment that in verse 5, there they are in great fear, for God is with the generation of the righteous. They, the foolish, are in great fear because God is with the righteous. There are righteous. There are those that do right. There are those that are doing what God has commanded, that do good, but they're not found among the foolish. They are found of being those who are with God. You shame, he says, the counsel of the poor, but the Lord is his refuge. The Lord is the refuge for the poor. The Lord is the refuge for the one who is just seeking to do what is right. Oh, that the salvation of Israel would come out of Zion when the Lord brings back the captivity of his people. Let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad. You see, the Lord always finds those who are righteous and those who want to be righteous. And the opportunity is there for them to fulfill their desires. For those that are wanting to do what is right, the ability to do so will always be there. For those who are looking for ways of getting out of doing what's right, the ability to do so will always be there. And so the question comes to us. What are we going to be? Are we going to be the fool who says in his heart that there is no God and makes choices that align with that particular belief system? Or are we going to be the righteous, that God, when he looks, will find and see and recognize is striving to do what is right, no matter what? Only you can make that choice for you, just like I can only make that choice for me. It doesn't mean we're going to be perfect or we're always going to make every choice exactly the right way. But the desire of our heart will say a great deal to God about our actions. These are some of the things that I've seen in Psalm 14. I hope that they're beneficial to you. Next time we'll come back and we'll begin looking at Psalm 15. I hope that you'll join us then. But until then, have a great day.